Kerri Walsh Jennings, April Ross capture beach volleyball bronze. Rio de Janeiro. It was the middle of the second set of the beach volleyball bronze medal match at Copacabana Beach on Wednesday night, and Kerri Walsh Jennings and April Ross looked down a set and trailing by 3 to Larissa and Talita of Brazil. It appeared that not only would Walsh Jennings' gold medal streak be over, she had won 3 consecutive golds before falling in the semifinals of these Olympics. It looked like the Americans wouldn't be on the podium at all. The Americans wouldn't go down like that. Walsh Jennings and Ross fought their way back, won the set, and then took the Brazilians down in a thrilling third to capture the bronze medal. This is the hardest match in beach volleyball, and I would assume in sports, said Ross after the match. One team goes home with an Olympic medal, one team goes home empty-handed. There's so much on the line. You're devastated from the night before. You have to emotionally get up for it. The night required a quick mental and emotional rebound for the Americans. They had played in a semifinal earlier that morning, in a match that started just after midnight on Wednesday. It was the very first loss in Walsh Jennings' long Olympic career, and 22 hours later, she was back on the court, still with a medal to fight for. Today was gnarly, Walsh Jennings said. I don't even know. I didn't sleep at all last night. My husband was consoling me. Quote, I spent the day feeling really devastated, and then at some point I was just like, this is absurd. What an honor and what a privilege and what an opportunity it is to grow as a person tonight. You have this opportunity to go and fight and to redeem yourself. I was in shock last night, said Ross. And it slowly got worse throughout the day. I spent a lot of time in bed with my eyes closed, visualizing, trying to get up for this match. The match began much as the semifinal match began, with the Brazilian team repeatedly targeting Walsh Jennings with their serves. Unlike in the semifinal, Walsh Jennings looked confident, handling her passes and repeatedly hitting spikes for winners. That confidence wavered slightly when Larissa caught Walsh Jennings with a knuckling serve for an ace, but the Americans rallied back and kept the set even. Late in the first, the Brazilians' tactics appeared to get to Walsh Jennings. After several clever shots by Talita at net, the American blocker started backing off on blocks, wavering on spikes, and overthinking her own attacks at net. In a particularly bad stretch, the Brazilians leapt out to a lead they wouldn't surrender, winning the set 21-17. The second set was a much tighter affair, but the Americans continued to struggle with the Brazilians' creativity at net. They also stumbled with some unforced errors, including a misserve from Ross and one memorable play that saw both Americans go for the same serve, collide, and fall to the ground as the Brazilian crowd cheered. It was then that the Americans were down 3 and appeared out of it. They fought back, as a small section of fans chanted, USA. Walsh Jennings and Ross ripped off several points in a row, erasing a 3-point deficit and taking a 3-point lead of their own. The biggest point was at 14-14 when Ross passed a ball way out of bounds, which Walsh Jennings was able to hustle and save, and the Americans won the point. The ball that changed the match was her running down into the banners, said Ross. And she got it up and we got it over. And that was the changing point in the match. I think it was just staying calm. We're down 3 points. I knew we'd been there many times before. You could see the confidence increasing with every block at net, every winner spiked to the sand. They won the set 21-17. And it would all come down to the third. It was new life, winning that second set, said Walsh Jennings. I had no doubt we were going to win. We still had to do it. That team is so good. With the American and Brazilian fans trading chants back and forth, Team USA came out hot, buoyed by stellar play by Walsh Jennings at net, who looked like a different player. Her counterpart Talita was suddenly the one looking out of sorts at net, unsure what to do after several massive blocks by Walsh Jennings. We were on them, said Walsh Jennings. Even in the first game, I reminded myself, they're not comfortable. Just pass the ball. If I pass the ball just a little bit off the ground, April was going to set me up. So I was just telling myself, don't shank the ball. Stop it. We pulled it together. Defense wins these things. From there, Walsh Jennings took over the third. She looked transformed, and reminded everyone in attendance that she is the greatest to ever play. 2 big blocks from her finished the match, a fitting end. That's quintessential Kerri, said Ross. She started being really aggressive at net, and that was something that changed over the course of the match. Many assumed before the Olympics began that these 2 teams would meet in a gold medal match. Larissa and Talita entered the tournament as the #1 ranked team in the world by FIVB, Fédération Internationale de Volleyball. Walsh Jennings had 3 consecutive gold medals and her partner, Ross, had won silver at the 2012 London Games. But the Brazilian duo was surprised by Germany's Laura Ludwig and Kira Walkenhorst in the semifinal, getting beaten soundly in straight sets. And then later that night the Americans also fell to Brazil's younger team of Agatha and Barbara. Those 2 teams will play for a gold medal at midnight. Agatha and Barbara were the world champions in 2015, so it would be hard to characterize the Americans' loss as an upset, but when it comes to Walsh Jennings in the Olympics, any loss has to be considered a surprise. As for Walsh Jennings' future after these Olympics, she wouldn't commit one way or the other after the semifinal match. I haven't spent 1 second thinking about that, she said of a possible return. I have no room in me to think about tomorrow, she said with a laugh. I've read a lot of self-help books to focus on being present. That's where my power is. That's where my joy is. That being said, I'm so happy, and I'm so happy to figure it out. And I know whatever I choose will be right for myself and my family. If I move forward in this sport, I hope it will be beside April, and if it's not, I will support her with all my heart.